there's nothing wrong with being indecisive. There's nothing wrong with it. It happens. But when you let indecisiveness get in the way of what has to be done, get in the way of being considerate, get in the way of just life in general, then that is laziness. Again, there's nothing wrong with being indecisive. Heck, I could be indecisive, over the simplest of things. But I don't let it get in the way to where if I have a job to do, I don't let it get in the way of doing that job. If there is an issue that needs to be resolved, I do not let that get in the way of resolving that issue. If whatever I have to do during that day has to be done, I'm not going to let that get in the way of what needs to be done. Simple enough. I'm not even going to let that make me push people away. Again, there's nothing wrong with being indecisiveness, but when you allow that to get in the way of life and things in general, push people away, that's when that's when it's bad. That's when it's called laziness, because now it's laziness. There's nothing wrong with not knowing what you want. And if you are around people who expect you to know what you want, who expect you to get a job that is up to their standards and so forth, then you need to X those people out, because there's nothing wrong with not knowing what you want. Heck, I don't know what I want. In this moment in time, I don't know what I want. But I don't let that get in the way of what needs to be done. I don't let that get in the way of me getting out of bed in the morning and going to work. I don't let that get in the way of what I aspire to do, what I aspire to be. You just can't let that in the way. I don't let that get in the way of talking to family or friends. I don't even let that get in the way when I want to hang out with friends. You can't let that get in the way, It's one thing to be burnt out, and it's another thing to be lazy. Heck, I've been burnt out, When you feel like you're burnt out, you just feel like you don't want to do anything. Not because you're depressed or any of that. And not because you're lazy. You just don't want to do anything. You want to recuperate. You just want to have time because you feel exhausted. Not tired, exhausted. I had one of my previous jobs that worked me down to the bone. I would get anxious going to do that stuff, I just felt so worn down by it, so burnt out because of it. I didn't want to do anything. I was like, you know what? I need to get out of this. So I quit that job. I got a new job, and I was a lot happier. I was a lot more at peace because I wasn't missing out. I can't tell you how many times I would cry not wanting to go, but I knew I had to because I had to work. And the way that place was treating people and the way how they were being so disorganized and things like that, no, I couldn't do that. And attitude changes left and right and a lot of shitty things happening, I didn't want to stay. So I left. But yeah, I'm a lot happier, I'm a lot more at peace. And that's enough. Because now I'm not missing out on so much. Now I'm able to do a little bit more, Now I'm at peace. Now the job I have is a lot more laid back and so forth. I don't know. I don't like it, but heck, it's I have to do a lot more with my hands. That's what I can say. Yeah. But yeah, there's a difference between being burnt out and being lazy. Look I was burnt out, but you know what? Let me do something. Let me change this situation. I can either talk to someone, or I was like, you know what? Maybe the answer's with me. Maybe I need to do something. And I did it. I didn't let that being burnt out turn to laziness or just turn to something really bad down the road. Because I found out what the issue was. The issue was the job itself, and I left. And I wasn't like, maybe, and yeah, I was a little bit indecisive because it was just like looking for another job is hard, especially in this day and age, especially what's happening now. It's hard. But you know what? By the grace of God, the universe, whatever you guys believe in, I got a new job within 2 weeks after quitting that job, and like I said, I'm a little more at peace now. And technically, I got paid more. Still working on it, but yeah. You know, that's pretty neat. But yeah. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, I just see it in a lot of people. I see it in a lot of people, people I personally know and people I don't know. Like, I've heard from the grapevine, I've heard from this and that, and it's just, whenever, I try my best not to judge. I try my very best not to judge. I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're going through something, you know, but when you say you don't understand, or you don't know what's going on, of course I don't know what's going on. If you don't tell me what's going on, how can I know? How can I not understand? It's like people, they expect you to know, they expect you to understand. No one's gonna know. And even if they ask and you brush it off, that's on you. And it's just, like I said, there's a huge difference between being burnt out, being depressed, and being lazy. Now, can depression be laziness? Yes, I've seen that firsthand. When you're allowing that sickness to take over your life, then that's a problem. And then depending on what form that sickness has taken, that's an issue with itself, because then you got to be careful, because it can, depression has no mask, and it can take many forms. Some people will go like, I don't like this, I need to change it, I need to get out of it because I can't let this beat me. And then other people who allow it, they like to be in that bubble. And that's when I would say that's laziness. So you want to be in that bubble. You say you want to get better, but you don't want to do anything. You're not putting energy, you're not making any effort. Then that's laziness. So, like I said, some people who say, well, I feel worn out, I don't know what I want, and listen, that, and you're not doing anything, that's not being burnt out. That's laziness. I've seen some people be burnt out by what they're doing that has caused them to be burnt out. So they shy away from it. And that's understandable. And even then, like I said before, you got to be careful, because you don't want to be like, like, you need to get off your ass. You can't do that, But at the same time, I know for a fact you're not going to enable that system. So I don't know. It's one of those things, like I said, there's nothing wrong with being indecisive. There's nothing wrong with being burnt out. It's just, if you allow that to take over your life, you allow that to take over what you need to do, and you're allowing that not to let you, you're letting that not let you do what you need to do, then that's laziness. That's not being tired. That's not being burnt out. That's not being, depressed. That's not being on low day. No, that's you being lazy. If you're not going to put effort to get out of the soup, like my dad always says, you don't like that song that the record is playing, then change that song. You don't want to be in a car accident, then don't hit that car. You don't want, it's a broken record. It's going, it's playing, playing like a broken record. Then swap that for a new record. You see, you don't want that. You don't want this to continue, then you need to do something about it. And if you're choosing to stay in that boat, if you're choosing to listen to that song, you're choosing to hit that car, you're choosing to continue like a broken record, then you're just allowing that to take over, and therefore you're not doing anything about it. You're not making an effort. You're not putting energy. You're not doing anything about it. You are enabling that system, and therefore you are lazy. To me, yeah, okay, it's one thing to be lazy. Like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to relax. There is appropriate laziness, and there is harmless laziness, and there's harmful laziness. Harmless laziness is like, you had a long day at work. All you want to do is sip on some cola, or put your feet up, things like that. That's different. You're relaxing. You're recuperating. You're being lazy to recuperate, because you got to do everything all over again, and you're trying to relax. That's different. But when there is an issue that's obviously not okay, and you are allowing that to fester like a disease, like an infection, then that is when that's harmful. That is harmful laziness because you're not doing anything about it. That is what's harmful. So you can't do that. So again, there's nothing wrong with being an indecisiveness, but when you allow that to take over what needs to be done, and you're pushing people away left and right, and you're not making any effort to find out what decision to make, then you're being lazy. That's how I feel. If you guys don't agree, that's fine. That's okay. But that's how I feel. You know? It is what it is.